What's up, Bears fans? Harrison Graham here with another video here on Chicago Bears Now. I got the latest rumors and news. Month from tonight, opening night of the NFL season, Thursday night football between the Chiefs and Texans. Then a few days later, it'll be the Bears and the Lions on that Sunday. It's getting closer and closer. Let's jump on in here. Is it a bounce-back season? Can Tarik Cohen bounce back in 2020? Well, ESPN certainly thinks so, as ESPN Bears writer Jeff Dickerson says that Cohen is a prime bounce-back candidate. He obviously dipped in production and explosive plays in 2019, which we've outlined pretty clearly here on Chicago Bears Now, and we all want to know, can Cohen get back to pre-2019 form, what he did in his first couple of seasons in the National Football League? So let's take a look at what he's done in his career. Obviously, the last year didn't do much on the ground, 0 touchdowns, only 64 carries overall. 2018 is more of what you're looking for. Not going to be a primary back, but can he give you 400 to 500 rushing yards, be that lightning, if you will, to David Montgomery's thunder? But really the receiving game is where his impact is felt. Just didn't have the type of season this past season that you were looking for if you are Tarik Cohen. So moving forward, hopefully that will change. Hopefully he can bounce back this season for the Chicago Bears, because they desperately need him to in 2020. Before we continue on this story, subscribe if you love the Chicago Bears. We're the fastest growing Bears channel here on YouTube. Crossed 10,000 subs in like 6 months. We're chasing 11,000 now. Let's get there before September 1st. Hit that big red subscribe button today. Share that link below. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. Like 600 away from 11,000. I think we can get there by September 1. And again, you look at the past 2 years, because I want to focus from last year to this year more than anything. The rushing yards, I'm not going to look at that too harshly. That's not where his presence is felt. Look at the lack of explosiveness, though, in the receiving game. 8 more catches last year and almost 300 yards less than what we saw in 2018. That ain't good, folks. Total touchdowns were down. He just didn't have the explosive plays that we're used to seeing from Tarik Cohen in this Bears offense. So hopefully he can get back to what he was going to be moving forward. And again, David Montgomery, your primary runner there. Tarik Cohen, more of your receiving back. We'll see what Artavis Pierce and Ryan Nall, A, if they make the roster, B, what they have on this offense. But David Montgomery and Tarik Cohen are going to be featured heavily because, A, the Bears want to run the football a lot, and B, they want to utilize the screen game, which both of these backs, especially Tarik Cohen, can really excel in. So I'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. Will Tarik Cohen have a bounce-back year this season? Type Y for yes, type N for no. You scroll down, very top section of the comments. You can weigh in right there. The Bears met with a safety on Sunday, a player by the name of Marquis Christian. You probably haven't heard of him because, well, he's been mostly a backup in his career, but that's kind of what the Bears need at safety, right? A depth player that can give you some punch on special teams, which is what Christian provides. Now, he wouldn't be eligible until week 3 because he's set for a 2-game suspension, but the Bears are exploring options. Obviously, Jordan Lucas opted out. You know, one of the top special teams players in the NFL, played a big role for the Chiefs in that area the past couple of years. Christian could provide that role for the Bears, plus be a depth safety if injuries were to pop up. 16 games last year, 36 tackles, had a couple of pass breakups, had a TFL, most of his work, again, on special teams. But he can rotate in, play some safety in a pinch for you if you need him to. Obviously, the Bears are going to explore this as they only have 4 safeties on this roster as we sit right now. Now, we've got Bears jerseys for just $79.99 right now. Lots of different ones available. 20% off when you go to this link, chatsports.com/Bears jerseys. You can get Foles. You can get Trubisky. I know a lot of you guys love Khalil Mack. Lots of different colors available, too. You got the orange, the navy, white jerseys. Tons of jerseys for up to 20% off. A lot of these as low as $79.99, especially the ones I'm showing you, including Allen Robinson, Akeem Hicks, and several others. Go to that link, chatsports.com/Bears jerseys. I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it in the description. Get yourself a Bears jersey for the upcoming season. I mentioned the Bears only have 4 safeties on their roster. These, you got Eddie Jackson, you got Tayshaun Gibson, DeAndre Houston Carson, Sherrick McManus. Also, me dumbly, I couldn't build the graphic right. Deion Bush is also there as well. He's going to be your third safety, so ignore my error there. They have 5 safeties on that one. But I still think bringing another safety on board makes some sense because Jackson, Gibson, and Deion Bush are locks to make this roster. After that, it's not great. Christian would probably come in and be your fourth safety to make this football team. Again, he wouldn't be eligible the first couple of weeks, so perhaps Houston Carson would be that guy until then. But this is worth exploring. This is worth talking about. This is worth considering if you are the Chicago Bears. They're doing their due diligence after losing Jordan Lucas for the 2020 season. So should the Bears sign a safety, type 1 for yes, type 2 for no? There's better safeties available, like an Eric Reed, for example. They don't really need a starting caliber guy, though. They need a guy who can play on special teams and be that depth type of player, like Marquis Christian. Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Anthony Miller breakout season. We've talked about this possibility before. I did a breakout candidates video. Miller was on it. Well, his receiver coach, Mike Furrey, is high on Miller now, basically saying, look, he gets it now, entering year 3. This is when players take a big step, especially skill talent guys like an Anthony Miller, and they need a reliable number 2 wide receiver after Taylor Gabriel was banged up last year. You got Allen Robinson. Can Miller be that number 2 guy? We'll have to wait and see. Here's what Furrey had to say. I just don't think from a maturity standpoint, a preparation standpoint, that Anthony was probably 100% all in, talking about his past. From a maturity standpoint, from a development standpoint of being a pro, those are things he's working on. This is the first year I can actually sense there's an intent there. He gets it. So maybe he's taking that next step. Maybe he's ready to go. I'm curious, though. A couple of young players, I want to ask you this question. Who's going to have a bigger breakout year? Because these are like the 2 guys everybody talks about, including me, for 2020. Is it going to be Anthony Miller? If so, type AM. I think it's going to be David Montgomery, type DM. I would still type Montgomery, but I still think both of these guys have a chance to break out in a major way this season. And you look at the first 2 years for Miller, obviously he was a little bit better in terms of total production. Obviously the touchdowns went down a lot this past season, but I think he can be a big-time player in the NFL, and the Bears need him to be, as he's going to operate out of the slot primarily with Allen Robinson on the outside, Miller in the slot. Probably a rotation on the other outside receiver. Maybe Ted Ginn gets that first crack there, and we'll see how guys like Javon Wims, Riley Ridley, Cordero Patterson, and Darnell Mooney fit in. But I'm excited for Anthony Miller this season. I think he can be that number 2 type of receiver the Bears need him to be, and like I said, they need him to be just that. So hopefully he breaks out. Training camp really, kind of starting to ramp up here. Pads will go on next week. Up there at Halas Hall. I'm expecting big things. I think you guys are too. Year 3 in the NFL, it's time for Anthony Miller to break out in 2020.